Hello, warriors. I am excited to share with you our new and improved way of giving, which we're now making our universal method across our entire site. When you click that red Give button, you'll be taken to a secure, streamlined giving link. This new system not only makes the process easier for you, but it also helps us save money and use your generous gifts even more effectively. You also have the option to cover the small processing fees, which is a huge help to us. Thank you for standing with us, for your generosity, and for making it possible for us to continue spreading hope and love around the world. Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. We've also enhanced the prophecy database, meticulously updating it with new video content and profound insights. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. As part of your membership, you'll also gain access to my prophecy blog, where I break down and analyze my father's prophecies, connecting them to current events. This blog will provide you with exclusive insights and a deeper understanding of how God's word is unfolding right now. And we're offering something truly special: exclusive analysis sessions available only to members of the Prophecy Vault. These sessions will go beyond the surface, providing in-depth exploration of specific prophecies and their implications for today and the future. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. So, I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside. What's new at the House of Destiny Network?
But the Lord spoke to me about treasuries that are released, that the treasures of God are presently in darkness. In other words, they are in the darkest regions of the world. In other words, you are not going to only get the treasures of God by your praise, by your prayer, by your fasting and your sacrifice. But the way that you're going to get the treasures of God is when you break beyond the boundary lines and the walls of the church.
And, we live in a world where the enemy wants us to feel that we are useless and worthless and forgotten or not important. But every single one of you are important. If you're watching me right now, especially if you've been feeling that way, that maybe you're not, why am I here? Or maybe you're grieving someone that's lost and you want to join them. You will. But you're alive for a reason. Other prophecy from 2013 that we saw from the beginning of no world war yet, you're yet to see the manifestation of a rock in the hand of a generation. Here he's talking about the stone to the head of Goliath. So the recurring theme again and again and again for this season of all the things my dad prophesied, the theme of David and Goliath comes again and again and again.
Yes, it does.
Can that be considered as a form of prayer, reading the word?
I really hope so.
I think so. I mean, in my thinking,
Yeah.
I think it's a form because you're spending time with God.
Yes.
You're spending time in his word. To me, that's prayer.
And that really helps me. I hope it helps some of you out there too. And Again, we are committed to bringing you the truth no matter what, whether it's popular, unpopular, in season, out of season, it's what we do. So we thank you for watching, we thank you for standing, and we will never stop doing what we're doing here, never. This is the hill upon which I am prepared to die if necessary, because I will stand here forever until the very last moment I draw breath on this earth, declaring that Israel is forever.
So why does the Bible talk about the carnal mind and then it talks about the mind of Christ? And it actually says, put on the mind of Christ. How do you put on the mind of Christ? You and I intentionally think like God. It's called Think Straight.
Shall become a trumpet, says the Lord. Be a praying president, not a religious one, for I will fool the people, says the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord. Spirit of the Lord says there shall be one assassination attempt that shall endeavor to destroy the plans that I have for this nation. Look to your vice president. But California, I'm looking at you. Goldstone, California. God says once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray, for the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Hear me. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers but singled out for presidency of the United States of America. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. My will shall be done. And in the fall, will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord, the Lord, the Lord.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rock the Hague.
This is
I'm on? What's that?
That's the ad.
Oh. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. Wasn't that awesome? I just, you know what? I was talking to someone earlier, my son's teacher from school, and I sent her that video, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to play it for them today. I guess it's a YouTube video, and it played an ad. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. How's everyone today? I can see you guys are talking about, I see there in, where is this, Rumble, talking about the humidity, and oh my goodness, it's unbearable. As you can see, I've braided my hair again today because I can do nothing else with it. And that was my dad in 2014. And actually what that was is something he put together for a festival that they have in South Africa called Rock the Hague, because he's from Uitenhage. And he used to play at that festival when he was young, before he was a Christian, anything when he was young. And they honored him at the festival, and he wasn't able to make it, so he created that video for them to play, and it was just so awesome. It was just yeah, I can see Florida Beach Mom. Hi, Florida Beach Mom. She says best introduction. Wasn't it nice? So I thought, oh, I'm going to bless them with that today. And you know, when he was in the hospital, it was before we realized he had a brain tumor. The doctors hadn't seen that yet, and he had a few strokes before they did. And we played that video for his surgeon, an Iranian doctor, and it was pretty incredible. He burst into tears and left the room. Oh no, I'm taking things into a sort of dark direction there, going into the hospital and stuff. I'm just thinking about that a lot because I've been working on a book about my dad for years. And it's very difficult. That's why it's taking so long for me, because it's hard for me to go there emotionally. And I'm trying to sort of prepare myself. I have something on the desk here, and I you know what, I'm going to go ahead and show you. A lady sent this to me, Mylene, in Phoenix, Arizona, sent me this beautiful cross. I'll show you guys. Look at this. Isn't that awesome? And I'm going to be hanging this behind me somewhere. I think I have to find a place for it. I want to hang this here. And she sent this to me, and I just want to thank you. If you're watching, thank you so much. It's really blessed me. I absolutely love it. And I am going to hang it up here. It's going to go perfectly with my sign I got from the Alphavets, which I need to have the Alphavets back. I'm going to have them back soon, because I keep seeing their posts, and I need to have them back. But as you can see today, the broadcast, we named it War and Peace, because this is all we see. When you're going on the news, that's all you're seeing. And you think about how much of it is tied into what my dad prophesied. It's incredible. Because it's not just one prophecy or a couple of prophecies where he, he saw something. It's sort of all of the prophecies are encompassing a theme of this season. It's culminating. And I know we've talked about this before, but as you see what's happening with Putin and Ukraine, and the way Trump is having to deal with this, and how difficult it's been, actually, because he kept saying, I'm having these nice conversations with Putin, and then he turns around and starts bombing Kiev or whatever he's doing. And there is the meeting that's coming up between Putin and Trump this Friday, I believe it is, in Alaska, is the last thing I heard.
so I'm praying. We all need to be seriously praying this week, especially those of us who know what was prophesied about Putin. And just to sort of sum it up, first of all, and this is something I haven't been able to find. I'm going to have to look for it, but he prophesied about Ukraine a lot. But there was a broadcast, and this is it's like going to be like a needle in a haystack because I don't think this is in the prophecy database. But there was a broadcast in which they asked my dad. So he wasn't prophesying, but they asked him. I think it was Sunil who was there and asked him, what did he see in regards to Ukraine? Did he think that it would be divided? And he said yes. He said he saw that it would be a divided country. In other words, we see that we have negotiations for peace between Russia and Ukraine, and it's been difficult meeting the needs of the demands of both sides. And I'm going to butcher pronouncing this, the Donetsk and Luhansk territories. So if you're looking at Ukraine, it's like up over here, really close to Russia. There's a lot of Russian speaking people there, and I think that's part of the territory that they've taken. And so when I'm looking at my dad's, not just the prophecies, but I saw that conversation in a broadcast a couple of years ago, actually now, since I've even seen it. So I have to go I tried to find it just recently, and I couldn't find it. So I'm going to have to keep trying. But as soon as I do, I'll play it for you. And they ask my dad, do you see Ukraine as being divided? And he said, yes, he did. And so, right, Tar22 and Rumble says, yes, we definitely need to pray over Putin-Trump meeting. Zelensky is stating he will not comply with any changes. You see Zelensky. And again, we have to remember to separate between who's leading a nation and the people of that nation, because it's not, it's like we had all those years under Biden and we were sorely misrepresented. And the same happens in other countries, especially that are not America, that are not Western countries. So I've never trusted Zelensky, I'm sorry to say. His connections with the World Economic Forum and whatever's going on there, it's all strange. But so we have that. And then we have the Israel and Hamas situation, which is completely different. And when my dad prophesied about that on February 22nd of 2014, he prophesied about Jerusalem, and he said they'll try. I don't think the word is try. It's not going to be verbatim quote right now, but they'll try to, or they'll say we'll give half of Jerusalem away, and he said that will never happen. And so it's very interesting that he saw Israel, he saw Hamas, he saw Ukraine, he saw Russia, and particularly Putin. He saw Donald Trump. Trump will be the trumpet, that he would serve 2 terms, but they ended up not being consecutive. So that was a big, that was difficult on the faith for a few years there, but I had it. I had that faith, man. I went on the Real Awaken America tour with General Michael Flynn, and Kash Patel was on that tour, and Eric Trump was on that tour. And I got to meet these people, Roger Stone. You guys have seen, actually, if you've been watching for a while, you would have seen our interview with Eric Trump 3 years ago, I think it is now. You would have seen me interview Roger Stone a number of times. I never did my interview with Kash Patel. I just didn't feel right about it. I just, at the time I was trying to arrange it with his assistant, who I actually ended up having a good rapport with. Her and I would text back and forth a little bit, and I like her. But now everything's different. He's the head of the FBI. It's all different now. So, and some strange things have gone on there. And I know my dad prophesied about exposure, in particular in the intelligence agencies. And so CIA, FBI, and not just in America, of the world. So we're seeing a culmination of fulfillment of prophecy from multiple angles. And so what you will notice is, for instance, on analysis, we're doing quite a bit of recapping of prophecies. So, we'll cover a prophecy, and then we're going to come back and revisit it again when more stuff has happened. And so you must watch, there you go, it's on the screen. You must watch analysis on Wednesdays. I usually do it with Christy Desfontaine. Once in a while we switch it up and someone else will join me, but most of the time it's Christy. And those have been so good because, we do, like, this show is, I'm hanging out with you guys and we're discussing it together. And then this is why I wanted the live setting here, because I can hear from you. Denise Maple says, I would love a sit-down conversation with Cash. Yes, wouldn't we all, especially now? But now is not the time. Now is not the time to have an interview with Kash Patel because he's the director of the FBI. He would not be able to do. No, he can't. It's not the same. I mean, he can do interviews, but it's not the same. He wouldn't be able to answer the questions that we have, really, which is what's really going on behind the scenes that made you and Dan Bongino look like you were terrified, because that is what happened. And everybody's like, oh, it's because Trump's on the Epstein list. But Trump knew Epstein, and that's no secret. It's never been a secret. And so obviously the left really, especially the Democratic Party right now, they really have nothing. And so they're going to just grab onto whatever they can. And, we're seeing a real backlash on the woke stuff. So you see Colbert has been canceled. Stephen Colbert has been canceled. Howard Stern has been canceled. These were very big names. I remember growing up and over the years, these were big. Now I remember when Stephen Colbert was just like a feature on what was it, Letterman, or I don't know if it was Letterman or the other guy. But anyway, The Daily Show. Thank you. So, I remember these people. Howard Stern too. He was such a rebel, and now he's like all with the establishment, and it was COVID drove him crazy. So these people, we're seeing the repercussions of a lot of stuff, and I'm saying this all because there's a culmination that's happening of not just, I'm seeing it first in the prophecies, but it's coming together into something that is extraordinary. But it's not easy to just, it's not like you could just walk up to someone and have a 5-minute conversation with them and explain this to them. It's very complicated. So that's why you guys are so important, because we get together like this. And The View. Thank you, Karen Voller in YouTube. I'm not sure. I guess a lot of people are. Strumming says, I call The View the spew. Oh my gosh. I didn't know they actually canceled it. I thought they were just on their summer break. Hi, everyone in the House of Destiny chat. Carolina, Mary, Rosemary, Glenn. You guys are so awesome. Christina H., Reverend Manny, and 35 more viewers. I see you guys. It's lovely to have you. And if anyone's wondering who I'm talking to, you can watch this broadcast live on our website. So if you ever have any trouble with social media, maybe they cancel us. Thank you, Larry. Larry just gave us Larry is back, and he gave us a super chat. Larry, you are the best. We absolutely love you, Larry. Welcome back. Angela likes analysis. I love analysis. It's really turned into a good show. It's not a show. It's a broadcast. I don't want to call it a show, because really what's happening here is we're utilizing the technology to gather. And so those of you who are, you've been following the ministry, a lot of you when my dad was still alive, and many of you are new as well. But if you've been following, West Virginia Mountain Mama says, I'm so glad that many of the shows are me too, that they're being canceled. There is so much garbage out there. Oh, it's truly a famine in the land for something decent to watch on television. Yes, that's right. My dad prophesied The View will say what I wanted them to say, meaning what God wants them to say. And I mean, that has been fulfilled because they had to say a lot of stuff, and they've had to retract a lot of stuff, especially connected to Donald Trump, Time Magazine, The View, Newsweek. They'll say what I want them to say. And so, in essence, God is calling out the media who is using propaganda. And that's going to be a big part of our broadcast today, is the propaganda that we're seeing. Lou, will you put up my X page? So I'm going to start to scroll. Wondering.
Yes, they did get sued and have to pay.
I'm wondering why is it loading? Lou's just going to make sure I'm sorted out here. Waiting for the X page. There we go. Is that it? No, that's it. Is it? Yes. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, here we go. Let's go in. We're going in. I don't know how you use the mouse just on the straight desk like that. I always have to put it on something. I guess I grew up
It slides too much on the book, so I can't.
using the mouse pad.
Someone's saying you can't find analysis on X or on the app. He's wondering is it on X or YouTube?
YouTube. If you can't find it, go to our website, kimclement.com, houseofdestiny.org. It's both will take you to the same place. And if you want to watch analysis, you can watch it there. It should be on the app, on the House of Destiny app. We do have an app. And then if you have any problem looking for it there, go to the Kim Clement YouTube channel. Look up analysis. It has its own playlist as well. So it'll be there in the videos. Okay, so you know what? Let's just start here. They are spraying people with insect repellent as they enter the city. Drones are hunting for puddles, hospitals locked down with mosquito nets. This is China's response to a virus. Okay, let's have a listen.
COVID. They're spraying people as they enter the city with insect repellent. They're coming to people's homes reportedly in red vests and looking for still water where mosquitoes may breed. They've got drones that are going around the city looking for still water where mosquitoes may breed. They're taking people who are sick with chikungunya, which is the name of the virus that comes from mosquitoes, and they're sticking them in hospitals and locking them down with mosquito netting around. And this is all going to export viruses because they are not going to control this virus, and fear, which they did last time. And somehow, Laura, the notion if you use these draconian measures and take away people's liberty, it actually controls a virus. That was something we should have learned doesn't work with COVID.
Dr. Siegel.
Okay, so let's keep looking. I have a reason for showing you this right now. Okay, China locked down entire cities, over 7,000 cases of a mosquito virus. Mass quarantines, state media blackouts, same playbook as COVID, but this time it's something far worse than human-to-human transmission. It's the chikungunya virus. And it's transmitted via mosquitoes. Now, you guys remember, how long ago has it been since I got sick?
A few weeks at least.
No, more than a few weeks. It's been a couple of months now since I was sick. Yes, absolutely. It's been almost a month since we went to Destin. So I think it's been a couple of months. You guys remember, I got sick. I had severe joint pain and swelling and fever, fatigue, a little bit of brain fog. China's lying. Oh, Bill Gates, T. Mitchell. Yes. Bill Gates has got his sticky fingers right in the middle of all of this. I have no doubt. But I think that's what I got. Because remember, I did the tick. Nobody could find out what was wrong with me. I went to the doctor. They did blood work. I have no immune disorders. No tick bit me. They gave me an antibiotic for tick bites, which worked to relieve me. But they said no matter what, it would work because it was anti-inflammatory, so the swelling in my joints would go down, which, Dale, thank you so much for your $50 super chat. So, you know, if you've been watching, those were my symptoms. I certainly do. I've never had anything like that happen to me in my life, just out of nowhere. But what I did have was a bite on my toe, which at first I thought was a tick, although I never saw a tick and I never had a tick on me. Usually you got to pull the thing off you. They tested me. It was not a tick. By the time we'd figured all of that out, it was weeks had passed because it took over a week for the tick test to come back. And I was sure it was the tick. Turns out it wasn't. And it looks like I had this chikungunya because those were my exact symptoms. I mean, I think this is a thread. See if they talk about the symptoms of it. Chikungunya. You can see the Chinese, they're freaking out. Cases reported. Now, I don't understand all the quarantine though, because it's not like I can't give it to someone else once I have it. So I don't understand why they're quarantining people, because it's transmitted via a mosquito bite. Like I'm not going to give it to someone who's around. Nobody else got sick around me. It was just me. So it's not contagious human to human. It's insect to human. This is from what I understand. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Unlike COVID's human to human spread, chikungunya requires mosquitoes as carriers. An infected person gets bitten, the mosquito becomes a flying disease vector, then spreads it to others. Okay, so it's coming from the mosquitoes, which, So what they're doing in China is anybody that has standing water, they're arresting them. Okay, I don't understand any of that. Well, I might if I read it. Virus bind to a specific receptor in the membrane. Receptors. Yeah, I'm no doctor. I can't even pronounce half of that. But I know what my symptoms were. It was so weird. They have 7,000 mosquito cases in China. Which if you think how many people are in China, it's actually not that many people. And it doesn't kill you. It's very, very rare to die from it. So I don't know why they're quarantining people. And I think this is why people are saying, hey, this is sort of draconian, that they're doing the same thing they did in COVID, and there's not even human to human transmission. I get them wanting to stop people from using standing water. You shouldn't do that anyway. Yesterday we went out and we were in the morning and started washing our cars, and I noticed that a bucket that we keep to do that, my husband has a sponge and a rag in there and has the bucket outside. Because it rained into the bucket, we didn't realize there was fluid in there, and I saw mosquitoes breeding. I went running away with the bucket and emptied it out because I'm scared. Although if you get it, can you get it again? Strumming, stop. Strumming says, did it make you do the chicken dance? No, I wasn't doing any dancing. I was sick. I mean, I couldn't move. I couldn't lift my arms. I was just like, what is happening to me? You can ask my sister Jacqueline. I couldn't get myself out of a chair. It would take me forever. And the pain, every single joint in my body, every single one, my elbows, my wrists, my neck, everything hurt. And it all started with me having a fever out of nowhere. I just started, my husband was like, what is going on with you? I just, out of nowhere, I'm not sick. I don't have a cold. I don't have anything like that. All of a sudden, I started literally shaking from fever and had to go to bed early. And then the next day, or no, I think it was a couple of days, maybe 2 days, I started getting pain in my joints, my fingers, my hands were swollen. I woke up and I said to my husband, look at my hands. They're swollen. I had to take my rings. He had to help me get my rings off with soap. It really was. I experienced this. I wonder if I can get tested at the doctor to see if there's like a remnant in my system that they could tell. Spray for mosquitoes. You know what? I have a pest control service at my house. One of the symptoms is clucking. Listen, it's not chicken. You guys are so funny. Chicken. Look, fine. It's chicken. That's hilarious. Jacqueline will let you know if I start clucking. It's been long enough. Oh my gosh. So These regions are where it is, but it doesn't show America, but I'm in America and I got it. I'm telling you, this is what I had. There's not a lot of things, is what I've discovered, because this happened to me. There's not a lot of reasons that something like that. It's not like you're going to get arthritis overnight. I have no immune disorders. They tested me for everything. Everything was fine. And yeah, I felt like the doctors should have had a better idea. Hong Kong has recorded its first chikungunya fever case since 2019, involving a 12-year-old boy who returned from the Guangdong province where an outbreak occurred. Health authorities are considering the risk of local transmission following this case. I'm just looking for the symptoms. Okay, here it is. Chikungunya symptoms can last for months or years. I didn't have that. It was a week, but they did give me an antibiotic. The joint pain is debilitating, often compared to severe arthritis that never goes away. Maybe it's not this one that I had, because it did go away after a week. No, it was over a week, but it wasn't until I took the antibiotic that it went away. No cure, no widely available vaccine, and no specific treatment. Okay. Rash, I didn't have any rash. Back pain, yes. Joint pain, yes. Vomiting, no. Nausea, no. Headache, yes. Chills, yes. Fever, yes. So I had most of these symptoms. It lasted probably more like 2 weeks. And then I was fine. I've had no problem since. I had a lot of people praying for me, though, so I might have been healed, too.
Hey, catnip plants keep mosquitoes away.
Catnip plants keep mosquitoes away. Well, we have cats, and they love catnip.
I know.
Well, let's get some catnip plant. We're doing some gardening anyway. Let's do that. Oh, the cats will like that. Especially Bartleby. My cat Bartleby keeps trying to escape. And I don't want to let him go, because the reason that I adopted this cat in the first place is because I found him in the pet store. He's the first cat I ever got. Found him in the pet store when I went to get some dog food, and he was in there and he had no tail. And I went to them. I said, "Is this a new breed of cat?" And they said, "No, he lost his tail because he was attacked, and we found him by a creek. But he was a wild cat." And he has, over the past week, he keeps running to the front door, trying to run out, but he doesn't run away. He just goes out into the front and then just kind of hangs around, and then you can pick him up and bring him in. And he wants to get out. He's banging on the door. He's meowing loud. And he's got kind of a rough meow, I guess, because he was attacked by a dog who bit his tail really bad. They had to amputate the tail. Half of his ear's missing because they have to clip it off with it's a feral cat. And he's got a funny meow. He doesn't meow like a normal cat. It's like, "Meow, meow." My sister said he's like a mobster cat. Come do that in the mic. I'm going to make her do this in the mic because I think it's quite fitting. He's sort of like a street cat. He's rough. What does he do?
Meow, see?
That's Bartleby cat. My cat. I've since I got him, I got 3 more cats. I now have 4 cats. I have too many cats. I love them all, though. Cat is a wonderful pet. So I just thought I would share this with you guys because I suspect this is what I got. I had almost all the symptoms. I did not have vomiting or nausea, but I had everything else. Yeah, I don't wear a mask either, Betty. I'm not into the mask. What Gates is doing to animals is worse than Fauci, Florida Beach Mom in Rumble. Teresa in Rumble says, "Donna, I had similar symptoms like yours back in May. I don't know whether I got bitten by mosquitoes or not. Symptoms are also like long COVID." Now, I keep hearing this about long COVID, but what is Florida Beach Mom? He is my street cat. Oh, that's interesting. Someone else had. So here's the thing that happened to me, though. I was bitten, and I had a bite on my toe, and I still have a scar there. Now, if you get a mosquito bite, you might, it goes away. I didn't touch it. I couldn't touch it. It didn't feel like a normal mosquito bite. That's why I kept thinking it was a tick bite, because it hurt just to even just touch the skin around, but it itched too. And now under the toenail of my big toe, I'm not going to stick my foot up and show you my toe. You don't need to. But there is a little red mark where that bite was, and this is months ago now. What Gates is doing to humans is even worse. What is he doing? And this is the thing about Epstein. I have to say this. There's more to this Epstein thing than human trafficking and all that business. I think that was there. Obviously, that was part of it, but there was more. It's more than that, and that's why everyone feels quite comfortable publicly talking about that side of Epstein, but then there's all this mystery and weirdness around it. And I have a very strong suspicion that there is some of this transhumanism stuff going on there with Epstein. Because Gates was going and hanging out with Epstein. You know, the thing about Bill Gates is he just doesn't seem like one of these people that would be going there to pick up women. I don't think that's what this is about with Gates. I think there's something far worse, if you can imagine something being far worse. But I do think Larry, for the on my cat meow. Larry, like, I knew you guys would find that amusing. Baking soda will take away mosquito itch when you make a paste. I put a Band-Aid on top of the bite. That's a good idea. Thank you, Donald 2020 Trump and Rumble. Hydrogen peroxide has a high oxygen content solution.
Yeah, no, baking soda paste. You put it on insect bites and stuff like that.
Yes. So I am of the opinion at this stage that the Epstein stuff is more than just about trafficking human beings. And again, that is a big part of it. But I think that there's something going on. Remember when we were hearing the rumors about the mRNA vaccine and how they were putting snake venom in it and Epstein's DNA was in it?
Yeah, there was all that kind of stuff.
Something weird. And there's a person who's come out who's part of, I don't know if this is for real. I watched this woman being interviewed. I fact check me. I've forgotten her name, so it's not going to be easy. But she's supposed to be Jeffrey Epstein's relative in some way. And she was saying, this is what got me thinking about it. She was saying that they were doing stuff with DNA, with human genetics, not public. We've heard many stories about the mixing of human and animal DNA in experiments. And no proof. But there are some channels that I watch on YouTube who the format is, the way it works is the host receives letters and emails. People tell their stories and they read the story sort of in a narrative way, like a story, and then they show images. And so there's a couple of channels like that I follow, and it was interesting to me just to have something other than politics sometimes, because that gets too much for me and I have to get a break. So I'll look for other things to watch. And I like a mystery. You know, I like a conspiracy theory. I don't jump on the bandwagon of a conspiracy theory. You know, I'm not holding on to it, but I'll hear it because you just never know. And you should be open to hearing it. And then you pray and you say, God, I need discernment with this. Reveal to me the truth. Those things work. He will do that. He will respond when you do that. If you ask him, he will respond. So, yeah, West Virginia Mountain Mama, you're right. We don't want to be reptilians. And this is what I keep hearing stories about, is that they're using public land, like where your national parks are, where you have lots and lots of space, but people aren't living there. Maybe they're vacationing and hiking, so they're able to be sort of kept in sections. And the areas that are unreachable by foot or through hiking or even with roads for the public, they have labs and they're experimenting out there. And the rumor is that they're mixing human and animal genetics mixing different animals together and then observing them. And can they alter DNA via a vaccine? That was one of the topics that kept coming up on those channels I was watching. It's been a while since I've watched them, which is something I kind of was watching for a while. But when I heard that interview the other day, I got a real human pig hybrid, Plum Island monster. Thank you, Taw22 in Rumble. That's one of the stories I heard. And again, these are just rumors, they're just stories. So you can't say, oh, well, this is true. We don't know if it's true. It could be just nonsense. But when you have multiple reports and the same thing keeps coming up, like many, many, many people in national parks seeing strange creatures, a wolf that's standing upright and walking, strange creatures in water that are large, then you hear you start to hear of the legends of the Mothman or the Wendigo. And let's not forget that, there is the possibility of demonic activity. But I think that demonic activity is wrapped up in this experimentation with genetics. And that will take you back to Tower of Babel time and before that, Book of Enoch. The sons of heaven laying with the women of earth, creating the Nephilim. This has been a big topic. Chris and Israel do, yes. Bigfoot. Are these interdimensional beings? Are they genetically altered creatures that scientists are experimenting on out in our national parks? Look, nothing will surprise me at this stage. Lou, you can bring my X page back up. I want to show. Let's take a break, okay? Intense topics. Let's take a little break. Here is a timeline cleanse for you.
What's wrong?
Thank God you're here. Help me. I can't do it alone. There she is, pushing this wheel for the cat. And then she stops. But I need you to do it for me.
What? What's wrong?
Isn't she cute? That's a cute cat.
Yeah?
She's pretty.
Make it move yourself. Why do I have to make it move?
But it's all a big act. You're about to see why. Look at it at night. No problem. Running. That's a cat. Oh my goodness. The whole cat experience is new for me, but I do love them. So there we go. I'll put that in there for you guys. All right. Here's the other thing I wanted to talk about today, and that is how much has come out just in this past week or so, proving that a lot of the footage that we are seeing, and this isn't about this particular clip, but it's bringing me to the topic I wanted to discuss today, coming from Gaza about, the IDF is holding back aid and they're starving the Palestinians when aid is being sent in from everywhere, and the UN's got all of that food and they're just letting it sit there. And then when food is sent in, Hamas hijacks the trucks carrying the food, and then they want to charge the Palestinians for the food. And then they make propaganda videos, and I'm going to show you in a minute. This, I actually don't know if I should show this. So this video shows Islamists slaughtering the entire medical staff of a Druze hospital in Suwaida, Syria. I'm going to pass this because he actually shoots that guy, and I don't think we should play that. Oh, Winifred, I'll follow you back. There you go. I'm following you, Winifred. Are you there? You are there. Hi, Winifred. I see you there in the X. Baking soda great for yellow jacket stings, too. I'm sure it is. Baking soda is a wonderful thing. It really is. If you ever have heartburn and you don't have any medicine for it, if you have baking soda, mix a little bit of it in some water and just drink it. It'll get rid of your heartburn. Okay, one of the Epstein survivors is from another country. Thank you, Taw22. She observed another girl on a lab table being tested. What? Also took a picture of a photo of a mammal raping a girl on the ice. Good Lord. What are these people getting up to? I'm telling you, this is why there's so much secrecy and weirdness around the Epstein stuff. It's not just about human trafficking. That's easy for them to. It's easy. When I say that, I mean it's easy for them to talk about it and cover it. No, nobody has a problem talking about any of it. They don't want to list things, and there's all the layers of stuff to that. But I'm telling you, the weirdness, I don't think is coming from just that. I really don't. Am I in the right place? I am not. I need to go back. Okay, no, I'm not in the right place again. That's 2C. 2C TV, I cannot recommend him enough. I'm not on my page. Lou, you might need to help me. But Meyer, 2C. But you want to follow 2C TV, TOUSI. You can see it on the screen there. 2C TV. Yeah, just to get me back to my page. Although that was good because they got to see 2C TV, and that's a great source, especially if you want to know what's going on with Middle East and in Europe, in particular England. He's in England. Mix baking soda and vinegar to make a paste.
That actually makes sense. Vinegar is also one of those things that sucks up.
Jay Lemanuel, she's hiding in South Africa. Who is? Hidden technology. If you guys know. See, I'm not alone. I'm just sitting at home and I'm seeing stuff and it's making me think. And you guys already know all about it. Adrenochrome. I mean, these people had so much money. If you think, I don't know if any of you have watched where they list all of Epstein's, just his properties. The most expensive penthouse in New York City. I mean, if anybody knows about New York City, where's my New York people? You there? How's your rent? Okay. It is so expensive to live in New York City. And he had the most expensive, like, penthouse or house or whatever in New York City. I think was worth 77 million, just that one. And then he had an island, and then he had a ranch in New Mexico, and I think he might have had another island. And so this is more than human trafficking. That's part of it. But I think that they were trafficking those girls not just to sell them, to sort of prostitute them, but they're experimenting. Some of these girls, I'm remembering this now, some of these girls were saying that they were impregnated and then the child's taken out. Just like you hear in the alien abduction stories, impregnated, then the child's taken. And that they were cloning human beings. And of course, we know that's the Epstein survivor. Thank you, Jay Lemanuel. Epstein, I hope I'm saying your name right. Epstein survivor is hiding in South Africa. Interesting. South Africa always comes up. It's sort of random. It's so random. Because my dad was born, raised in South Africa. I was born and raised till I was 12 years old, 13 years old in South Africa. Tweety Bird's dog looked at the video when the cat meowed. That's funny. What kind of dog? Aging decades because of not being able to get their adrenochrome. I'm hearing that too. But again, we have to we don't know what's true or not. This environment is so filled with propaganda. And that's the point I wanted to make to you today about the Hamas stuff. Because I've got some stuff here to show you. Here it is. Go back to my X page, Lou. I don't know why this video is loading. Why is it loading like that? Okay, so here you can see Hamas Hunger Propaganda Staging 101, a staged hunger event on the left. Okay, so here, what you're seeing on the screen, I don't know why it's not loading, but what you're seeing on the screen right now, this is one section. Now, in the video, let me see if I can just fast forward because it doesn't really matter if you hear it. What's happening, Lou? Thank you, Taw22, for your, is it a super chat on Rumble? I don't think it's called that. But thank you so much, Taw. Am I saying the name right? Taw? Tao? Is it not our internet connection? No. Ah, that's odd. I wonder what happens if I click on the post. I wanted you to see this. It won't even let me. Maybe they've taken it down. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. Okay, you see? So look at this. This is all staged. Now look over. It pans over to the right. And there they are instructing them on how they're supposed to behave in the videos. And then the UN is compliant and the New York Times is compliant. Everyone's just like whatever Hamas says. I mean, I don't understand what's the matter with people. I mean, it has to be demonic, transhumanism. That's right, Sherry Cook. Albany, New York has a city under the streets. Huh. We know. There's a lot of stuff going on underneath the ground. Tunnels under the Denver airport, absolutely. I know about that. I've heard about that. Oh, look. So this print, I retweeted it. It's actually an older post, but I just thought it was so cool because there is the Jesus print my husband did and made it all the way to Hawaii. Isn't that great? Oh, I got to tell you guys, the lion print is available, but I'm so excited because you guys have been on this journey with me. God showed me a lion last year. Earlier in the year, my husband did this painting of Jesus for my sister because she's getting married to hang in her new house. And he posted it on his X page and it went viral. And my daughter was holding it and just people really responded to that image of Jesus. And so a lot of people wanted them. And so what he did was, because he actually wasn't set up to sell anything, he just said, well, just give me something. And that way I can have it printed and sent to you. And we got a great response. And then in the middle of all of that, God had showed me a lion. And then I started obsessing over the Atlas lion and studying them I didn't know why. I just was so interested all of a sudden. I was watching lion documentaries. You guys remember I kept telling you channels to watch, The Lion Whisperer, stuff like that. And next thing, Israel does Operation Rising Lion and all that stuff with Iran, which lined up with all this stuff my dad prophesied. Even my dad prophesying the lion will roar. So my husband has done the lion. And I've got it in my feed here. Oh, there it is. There it is. Now that's the original painting. And so here's the very important part. You cannot email the House of Destiny or the ministry to ask about these or to get these. The ministry is in no way connected to that. And even my husband, he wasn't doing that. He's an artist and he posted a picture and a bunch of people wanted a print of it. So he printed some and it just turned into this whole journey. And so the companion to the Jesus is the lion. But in order to get that, you cannot contact the ministry because the ministry, it's a whole thing if the ministry even gets involved with that because of the IRS and legal stuff because it's a nonprofit and all that. So just email my husband if you're interested. You cannot email the ministry because the ministry, anybody working, answering emails are not even going to know what to tell you. So very important that you know that, but I did want to let you know that he did the lion too. And you guys were on that journey with me of my obsession over the lion. I didn't know why. I just kept telling you, I saw this lion last year and it was such a strong feeling. It just made me want to cry. And, he's the lion of the tribe of Judah. And it's just been really cool and so beautiful. So, but I wanted to let you know that the ministry is not connected to that. It's completely independently my husband on his own doing that. So if you are interested in the lion or the Jesus or any of my husband's artwork, you can also follow him on X. And I'll find out for you guys if he's on Facebook. I know he's on Facebook, but I don't know if he wants to cross those worlds because then he's keeping up with all these So, okay, Florida Beach Mom's already contacted him. Labradoodle. A Labradoodle was the dog looking up when the cat meowed in the video. How cute. I love Labradoodles. They're just adorable. They're just like teddy bears. I just want to kiss them. Asher. Oh, he's a boy. His name is Asher. Oh, hello, Asher. Can you hear me? Hi, boy. Hello. Kisses and loves to you. You cute. I already know you're cute. Labradoodles are adorable. And they're such good natured dogs. Here we go. New York Times. No evidence of Hamas stealing aid. And here they are. This is Hamas stealing aid. So we have to look at this situation now because we know my dad prophesied the Fourth Reich, the rise and fall of the Fourth Reich. He prophesied about Hamas. He prophesied about those tunnels before they knew about the tunnels that Hamas was building under the ground so they could get into Israel and slaughter all the Jews. And then you got the whole world screaming and shouting about Zionism and those evil Jews that run the world and all this nonsense. And then you have organizations like the United Nations are compliant, not only compliant, spreading propaganda. And there were people from the UN that were part of October 7th. And now I think my dad, 2005, prophesying about the UN. The UN is a stench to God's nostrils. And God said, I will abolish it. I will take care of the refugee, but there's going to be no more United Nations. I will abolish it. And I want you to remember that I'm telling you that today. I did not prophesy it. My father prophesied it 20 years ago. And look at what is happening today. The UN involved in October 7th, the UN not releasing food and allowing these lies. Oh, the IDF, they're just slaughtering children and starving Palestinians, and none of it is true. I just can't. Did you guys see this? Pete Hegseth and his wife, Jennifer, have quietly adopted a young girl who lost her parents in the Texas floods this year. That, Lance Wallnau says, now that is Christianity in action. It truly is. And you know something? We understand a lot about that here at the House of Destiny. Because my mom and dad, after the earthquake in Japan, they were so, first of all, my dad prophesied that earthquake. He prophesied there would be an earthquake in Japan. He prophesied it. And about that earthquake and what happened. And they were, thank you so much, Jim UK in God showed Brandon Biggs about human hybrids. Did he? Oh, I'll talk to Brandon about that. Brandon has become a good friend. I really like Brandon and his wife and family. They're incredible. What a prophetic family. Love them. But my mom and dad, my dad prophesied earthquake in Japan. The earthquake happens, 2011. They're watching the footage and they're seeing how many children lost their parents. And my mom just, her heart broke. And she was wanting to, we have this ministry. We can do something to help. And they reached out, and through the course of that, they were redirected to China. This is very prophetic. I want you to pay attention, you guys. It's very prophetic. Redirected to China, where they adopt 5 special needs Chinese children and helped hundreds of orphans in China who had birth defects and special needs, who it would be highly unlikely they would get adopted, helped them to find homes, funded their surgeries, and those surgeries were done in Israel. The reason they were done in Israel because the Israelis were not charging an arm and a leg for it. A surgery, open heart surgery in the United States of America that cost in the United States cost $30,000 was $10,000 at the Wolfson Medical Center in Israel. Professor Ari, I hope he's doing well. We should check in on him. But I visited there in 2018 when I went with my mother. And of course, that door closed. China no longer allows the adoptions anymore. But when they did, a lot of Christians adopted those special needs Chinese children because of my mom and dad and what they did. And my mom and dad adopted 5 special needs children from China, my brothers and sisters. Matt, Shalian, Mia, Kimby, and Shushu. They're all my siblings. Kimby and Shushu are the same age as my daughter, and they're all in the same grade at the same school, which we love that. And that truly is Christianity in action. And a big heartbreak in losing my dad is that God took him, and he was very involved in the raising of these children, staying at the hospital with my mom, taking them to and from doctor's appointments, taking them to and from school, caring for them when they had these major surgeries. This isn't just, they got stitches. Major surgeries, open heart surgeries, surgery on my brother Matt's face. Just every time it's like you have to pray that they survive. And when God took my dad, it left my mom with the burden of, and I don't say burden in a bad way, but with carrying that load without my dad. And so those of you who have continued to support the ministry, we are so grateful for you, because you are helping these children as well. And so we're just thank you so much, and for your prayers, because that we have had supernatural protection, and that is for certain. God's hand has been on this family and protected us and carried us through some very, very difficult years. After we lost my dad, everything changed. And so I just want to say thank you to our warriors for your support, because those 5 children, they grabbed those kids out of China while they still had a chance. And, God has a plan for each of their lives. And so you are part of that. This was very funny, but we don't have time to look at that now. When you clean for hours and then get reminded you have kids. This was me yesterday. I vacuumed the whole house. I did all this stuff, and I turned around. It was like nothing. It was like I did nothing. Well. Soda and candy are being banned from the food stamps program. Yeah, RFK Jr. is not kidding around. Like, he is sorting a lot of stuff out. This was also very cool. I know I've got some sort of just not political stuff, because all of the stuff my dad prophesied, a lot of what he prophesied about, it has to do with leadership, but it had to. If you look at what's happening, this is so smart. Jacqueline, have you seen this? Can you see? You don't see the screen? We're going to do this. I hadn't shown this to you yet, but we're doing this. Well, I'll show you later. Anyone who needs that tip, we're working on the front of my house planting stuff. So we pulled everything up. We're going to plant more stuff. So I've been looking for ideas. Ground cover, and I'd love to have some hydrangeas, but I've got to make sure they're going to be okay, enough sunlight and all the stuff, the soil. So I'm probably realistically not going to be able to plant anything until the spring, but we're planning. And that's a good idea. Look at that. Clever. So there you go, a little tip for those of you gardening. This is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so we're still talking about the propaganda. No. It's the next one. I scroll down. It's the plants. There's a potted plant. You're going to see how they did it. We need to do that. Okay. I hadn't told you yet.
The world.
I want you guys to listen to
wretched
this.
of the world, standing up against abuses of power.
This is
the Western liberal mind.
And this is giving us some advice and insight on how do we deal with this, because this is a very deep issue. I want you to think of, for instance, parents of the trans kids that they have gotten these surgeries for their kids when they're very young. For them to admit that they were wrong in doing that would mean that they permanently mutilated their child. So to face that is too difficult for a lot of people. It's not even a pride thing. It's you have to face that you mutilated and permanently altered your child, damaging their life forever, and you were tricked into it, or it wasn't. For a parent to actually have to admit to themselves what they've done, They're never going to do that. And so we are going to have a lot of these parents and families who will never want to, because then they'll have to admit. And this is what, now listen to what this lady's saying about, well, listen, because it's not about that. It's not about the trans issue. This is about Hamas and about the left and about the politics. It's so good that it's worth listening to the whole thing.
Conceives of itself as being good because it's liberal. The Western liberal tells him or herself, I'm a good person because I'm liberal. I'm liberal because I'm a good person, which means that I believe in things like the brotherhood of man, conscience and compassion, looking after the wretched of the world, the poor and the wretched of the world, standing up against abuses of power. These are all good things, and that's why I'm a liberal. And I'm a liberal because of all these good things. So, one of the expressions of my goodness and my liberalism is that I support the Palestinian Arabs, who I think are an oppressed people, and they are oppressed by the Israelis, who have taken their land away from them, and they are oppressing them. Now, every part of that, in my view, is a lie. But put that to one side. This is what the liberal progressive thinks. And the liberal progressive thinks that supporting the Palestinians is therefore something that makes the liberal progressive a good person. October 7 happened, and suddenly you have a situation in which the people that the liberal progressive has supported as being oppressed, and everything they do is a legitimate defense or resistance against oppression, suddenly we can see that those people have turned into the most bloodthirsty savages that could ever be imagined, in which the people that they have supported as being oppressed are good people because they're victims, are these savages. And the people they have represented as oppressors are the victims. They can't have that. Because if they have that, if they admit that that is the case, then their entire worldview is shattered, because the people, you know, the cause they have supported as representing goodness is shown to be evil. And what does that make them? It makes them evil. So they can't have it. So what do? They go to extraordinary lengths to pretend that black is white, that justice is injustice, that oppression is resistance, and vice versa. So they have to represent the Israelis as being at fault. The Israelis are to blame for what's happened. So there is no better way of blaming people than accusing them of the very thing they are the victim of.
Projection.
So you accuse them of genocide. We hear it also regularly. The Israelis are accused of being Nazis. It's the same thing. It's not simply an offensive thing. It's a very deliberate thing, because if the Israelis are Nazis, then we are free. We, the liberal West, are free of any kind of guilt or any kind of association with bad things, because they are to blame. They are the people who are bad. And so we are free to continue with our fantasies of us being good people. And I think that's also what lay behind these amazing scenes that we saw on social media of people with their hands tearing down the posters of the hostages. Now you have to ask yourself, what's going through the mind of someone like that? These weren't posters advertising Israel. They weren't advertising the Israeli Defense Forces. They were pictures of babies, of children, of women who had been kidnapped by bloodthirsty monsters, by savage, depraved savages, and were being almost certainly subjected to untold horrors. And yet they were torn down, and the faces of the people tearing them down were contorted very often with rage and hate. And you have to ask yourself, what's going on in the mind of that person? And it seemed to me that they had to literally with their fingernails tear it out of sight. It was something that could not be tolerated to be in existence at all. The very concept of the Israeli babies and children as victims of the people they had been supporting, because it contradicted the narrative on which they had hung their own moral worth. And it seemed to me also they were tearing the Jews out, trying to tear the Jewish people completely out of their world, out of their sight, out of their world, out of their minds, out of their thoughts, and out of their consciences. That's to me what it represented. And this whole inversion of genocide thing is part of that. It is not just disgusting. It is not just ridiculous. It's evil. And I think it is a symptom of the evil paths into which the West has fallen through its embrace of a whole range of ideologies, a whole range of thinking, which I think has come to define what we call the liberal progressive West.
Wow. That is actually really well put. And it's interesting because we have to observe, it's not observe, we have to realize what's happening, because we're going to have to deal with this. You know, as Christians, we understand redemption and forgiveness and what? Deliverance. This is, look at what happened there. Okay, she's dealing with the human psyche and emotion and facing an evil that you may yourself, like I said about the trans parents, you have to face, what have I done to my child? They have to, that's a trauma. And it doesn't make them evil. It means they got deceived. The devil deceived them. And so now you have entire political parties, entire groups of people, university students who are very vulnerable because they're young. Young people are vulnerable. They haven't lived through things. They don't remember them. History can be rewritten. And what are we going to do with these people when the truth becomes undeniable? Because some of them are either going to have to deny it the rest of their lives, or when they face it, it's going to be too much for them. And that tells me how demonic it is. And so it's more than just a psychological thing. Are you going to go through therapy? No. You need to be delivered. You're going to have to be hands laid on you, prayed for, delivered, and forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving those who lied to you, forgiving your enemy. Oh, that is going to require of Christians who have suffered. We're seeing Christians suffer persecution like I've never seen in my life. And it's not covered by mainstream. They don't want to talk about it because Christianity is supposed to be the enemy too. You hear a lot of these progressives hate Christians. You'll see a lot of progressives are the ones that are attacking churches. It's not just the Muslims. There's the progressive side there that this violence is emerging from, because it's the manifestation of evil through them. So we as Christians are responsible to shift that, and it takes us forgiving terrible things so that we can help, because it's too many people this has happened to now. We're not talking about a handful of people. We're not talking about one group. We're not even talking about one country. We're talking about all through the West. And so now, do you understand why my dad saw this? Why would God show my dad these things? This is why, and we're living through it. And like I said in the beginning, it's culminated. It is culminated into a moment in which all of these prophecies are to where it's like if I were to sit here and have to go through each prophecy, which I will do, I will be doing more of that. But going through the prophecies again and again, because we look at it and we say, okay, this is fulfilled, and then some time passes and more happens and there's more depth to it. And now it's not, because it's not just one prophecy, it's pieces of it. And this is something he kept saying to me, that it would be like a tapestry and there would be little pieces of it, and one day it would be woven together and we would see the image. It would be like a tapestry, a woven tapestry. And that's what this code breaking is about. And so I felt it very interesting, but also important today that we collectively, all of us who gather here every week, recognize this, because we are going to have work to do as Christians. And, you know, our main thing is we've got to reach the lost. We have to spread the gospel. We're not supposed to be sending people to hell at all. We're supposed to be getting them out of that situation. And so this is a kind of hell that we've never seen in our lives, especially the stretch of it and how broad it was. What my dad prophesied, but it was the name of Jesus that would bring the victory and the overcoming, that it would crush every tribe, the Muslims, the Buddhists, even Judaism, that Christ Jesus, that his name, the power in that name. And this has been the burden on me as I'm watching this unfold. Here's more. The UN and Hamas work together to deceive the world.
For families, winter.
I came in here today because I wanted to see with my own eyes what is happening on the ground. I am in Gaza, on this Gaza side of the Kerem Shalom crossing. And what we have here is are thousands and thousands of tons of humanitarian aid that is earmarked, that is slated for the people of Gaza. But it is sitting here in the boiling sun. Israel has enabled all of this aid to enter the Gaza Strip in order to help the people of Gaza. But once it enters this crossing or any of the others, the responsibility for the aid turns over to the international community, namely the United Nations. But still, you can see, and I'll take you around in just a moment and explain the situation. The aid is sitting here in the bolstering, burning hot sun, getting ruined instead of getting to the people of Gaza.
I'm seeing an endless array of foodstuffs, personal items, milk for babies, mattresses for families, winter clothing, just sitting here and rotting under the Gaza sun, because of the so-called humanitarian agencies like the UN and other affiliated agencies simply refuse to distribute it to the people of Gaza. What is true is that the UN is in cahoots with Hamas. It refuses to distribute food. 9 out of 10 of every UN truck is looted by armed Gazans from Hamas and other terrorist organizations. We know that the drivers of UN trucks are members of the Hamas Union, so that Hamas knows where the trucks are going to be, what's on the trucks, where to loot them.
According to the most recently released COGAT data, on August 5th alone, more than 300 trucks entered Gaza. 300 trucks of aid were collected and distributed. More than 800 packages were delivered from 8 countries. 3 fuel tankers entered for humanitarian needs, and 110 aid pallets were airdropped. President Isaac Herzog, during a visit to Estonia yesterday, called on the international community to stop believing what he described as Hamas's falsehoods.
In the last 2 weeks, Israel has overhauled the entire approach to the humanitarian situation. 30,000 tons in the last week. 30 tons only by airdrops yesterday, let alone trucks. Almost 800 trucks the UN can distribute and is failing to distribute. But instead of that, we see a PR campaign like this one. This is from yesterday by German media. You see a photographer staging Gaza people to show that they are lacking food, whilst there's food there behind them. We ask the world not to fall into the lies, condemn Hamas, and say to Hamas, you want to move on? Get the hostages out.
Yes, and the thing is, the only reason there is no ceasefire, the only reason this is going on is because they're not releasing the hostages. And then what happens? Macron and Starmer, the French and British prime ministers, come out and say, we're going to recognize the Palestinian state. So why would Hamas agree to a ceasefire and surrender at all? If they just hold out, France, England, they're going to recognize them. It's a big problem. And now I can see why my dad prophesied the Fourth Reich from Europe. It was in the Netherlands. Lou, can we play the Netherlands? I think we have it. Can I just do it? Or do you have to do it? Can I do it? Oh, you're going to do it. He's going to do it. The true North is no longer strong or free. We are obediently marching into totalitarianism. I live in a province where it's illegal to camp, fish, or go in the woods for any reason. My neighbors mostly agree with the decision of the regime. It makes me feel nauseous. This is someone from Canada. Yeah, it's Canada. Here we go. Go ahead, Lou.
In the land, you were an ally to the Third Reich. There is a fourth one arising.
over your children and remove Jesus. But the Spirit of God said, truth will prevail. A cause will not prevail. And the people will begin to arise from the streets. And I will manifest myself in whorehouses. I'll go to red light districts. I'll begin to take them from their place of pain and turn it into a place of rain, says the Lord. Come on. Come on. God said there's going to be a reformation. But this time, God said, I'll use Germany. I'll use Italy. Yes. I'll use Holland, the Netherlands. I'll use France. They will stand, and they will stand against the Spirit. And that'll be the countries that I'll begin a great reformation, and there will be an abolishment of the laws of men, and your young men and young women shall rise, 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 and shout, shout, shout.
Hallelujah. I receive that. Wow, powerful. You see how much sense it makes when you go back and you watch that prophecy again. Now we're in this moment. And so we see hope for France. If anyone's watching from France, I don't think anybody is today, are you? Anybody watching from Canada? We are praying for Canada. We're praying for France. We're praying for the Netherlands. We're praying for Germany. We're praying for Europe. We're praying for President Trump. Because just like I titled the show today, War and Peace, Trump is going through and trying to make peace. He's trying to do it. It's difficult. We knew he would have a problem with Putin. People didn't want to listen to me for years and years. I've been shouting about Putin because of what my dad prophesied about him. And everybody was like, oh, Putin's our friend. No, Putin's not your friend. Putin has got an agenda, and he is very, very clever. He's a KGB agent. And there's a lot about Putin that we need to be wary of. Don't just think, oh, because Trump's nice to him. No, Trump has to be nice to him. Because you do not want war with Russia. The two biggest nuclear powers in the world do not need to be at war with one another. And God has made it very clear that it's not going to happen right now. So, we're praying for President Trump this Friday. He's meeting with Putin. We're praying for Canada. There's the flag. Praying for Canada. Praying for Europe. Because God's people are in those places. We're always hearing about the lunatics and the idiots. But the truth is, God's people are in all of these places. He has put his people in all of these places. And everywhere. If you're in Canada right now, I see the Canadian flags. Diana. Dover. I see you. God sees you. God sees you. Yes, the shield. I hear them talking in the other room. That is what my dad prophesied. It was in one of our old intros. Canada, put up your shield because they have their eye on you. And the UK, he went to the UK. He went to France. He did it in 2010 from France. He prophesied the Fourth Reich from Netherlands. He went back. He went to England. Especially the last year, the same year, 2015, that he had the stroke. He went to Paris, he went to England, he went to New York. Those were very important trips that he took. They were the final trips that he took as a prophet. And he spoke about a short war. And so I do encourage you to watch analysis on Wednesdays. Watch analysis on Wednesdays, because me and Christy really dig deep into it. We really just hone in on a prophecy, and we can do that here too sometimes. But this is more of a discussion setting too. I like to hear back from you and get your input. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong about something. I don't mind that. You learn the most when you're wrong. When you've been wrong about something, you're right, you're just like, oh, pat yourself on the back, move on. But when you've been wrong about something and you can acknowledge that you're wrong because it's totally fine, we're all human, you will learn a lot from that. God will use that for good in your life. Okay, you see this? You see this? I'm going to see my friend Amanda beginning of September. So September 6th, the gala. I'm so excited to go play with the animals and hang out with my friends. And so there's the information if you are interested in joining us, because it is the second annual Ark of Grace Ministries Gala. I'm so excited. I've never been to a gala. What happens at a gala? What is a gala? I'm reading your comments. Put your shield up because they have their eye on you. Ryan says, Canada, we are one landmass, all under God. Yes, you are. Sean Foyt, yes, we spoke about that, I think last week or the week before, about what happened to Sean Foyt when he was trying to minister in Canada at church. And the Canadian government's getting involved. Although, if you're a Muslim in Canada, you can just, call for prayer how many times a day, block traffic, do whatever you want. But if you're a Christian in a church, you're going to get attacked. That's not acceptable. And God's not going to stand for that. He's not going to. And so it might take a bit of dramatic events in order to overcome this. But the devil is a liar. I made this in the new Grok video, you guys. You see this?
They say you have to really dress up in a gala.
I know. This is what John was saying. You have to dress up. Oh, no. Amanda's going to have to dress me. I'm no good at that stuff. She'll dress me. Don't worry, everybody. Amanda will make sure that I look presentable. She'll dress me. I've never been to a gala. Oh, I'm excited I get to dress up a little bit. It's fun. When do I ever have a reason to dress up like, I think John, my husband, said it was black tie. It's a black tie. Of course, Amanda would do it black tie and have a gala. She loves to dress up. She's such a New Yorker too about it. So you guys see this that I made yesterday morning. I saw the thing on X about the new update in Grok. So I went in, and you can make an image of anything or a little video of anything. So I put the Atlas lion. It's an Atlas lion, just like the one I've been talking to you guys about. And I had to tell, West Virginia Mountain Mom. It says it's a grown-up prom. Now that sounds just like Amanda Grace, doesn't it? I love my friend. Amanda Grace said August is the month of God's vengeance. That's what God showed her. And I'm in agreement. I think that all of it is going to start to unravel even more. And we need to be there, not to say, ha, 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 we were right, you were wrong. Not to condemn, although there will be condemnation necessary, especially when people have done terrible things. But for the regular people who bought into it, or maybe they participated in some way, we're going to have to be there to help them understand about redemption and forgiveness and becoming a Christian. That is what's going to be. And I think this is why my dad saw, he didn't even want to call it a revival. He called it a revolution. And he said that this would come. And what the young people would do. There will be no world war yet, because you are yet to see the manifestation of a rock in the hand of a generation. You remember these things I'm telling you today. Because it looks so terrible now and it looks impossible now, but God's going to open that door and it's going to flood. Remember Elijah. He said with his servant and the cloud, the size of a man's hand. When you see it, run. Man, you better run, because it's going to come flooding. And we have to be prepared as Christians to handle that. And we have to be forgiving and kind, but just. We cannot be tolerant of lies. We have to be able to call out a lie, but we have to do it as a Christian would, with the heart of Christ. Forgiveness will be needed. So I'm preparing everybody, because I know this like I know this. Diana says, my sisters in Christ, Donna and Amanda. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Maybe not. Bless me. Thank you.
Bless you.
Sorry, I had sneezed. Okay, so I made that lion video. I was kind of proud of it. And that is an Atlas lion, and there it is. I thought, where am I going to put him? I had him on a battlefield at first with like a hill behind him, and there was a battlefield and the empty cross, the 3 crosses, like crucifix. And then there he was walking through the battlefield, but then it was a bit much and I couldn't get it quite right. And then I made one for my friend Charlita. She's a good friend, just an amazing woman of God. And I made one for her with the lion and rose garden and stuff. And that was messy, and I sent it to her. And then I thought, what am I going to do? And I made this one of the White House. I just thought about Trump and all the stuff and America and what God is yet to do with America, and the lion representing Christ Jesus. And there it is. So I like my little video. That was fun, using the technologies. It can be used for good. And speaking of war and peace, here we go. President Trump has now ended conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia. We saw that happen. What's interestingly enough, my mother actually, a few years back, went to Cambodia, was doing missions work in Cambodia, took my brother Jacob. It was actually an incredible trip. I didn't go, but they did. Israel and Iran, we have experienced our own little prophetic moment with that, because God kept showing me the lion, then Operation Rising Lion, and there's the Persian flag before Iran was taken over by the Ayatollah and the IRGC. Their flag had the lion on it. And it was an Atlas lion. It would be that kind of lion because in that region of the world is where those lions were from. They're no longer, they're extinct in the wild. They do have some in captivity, but they're not in the wild anymore. And that lion's almost gone. But if you, like the Romans used to use them in the Colosseum, if you read about a lion in the Bible, it was an Atlas or Barbary lion, not a sub-Saharan lion like the lions where I come from. It is bigger. It has got a bigger mane that covers more of its body. Because it comes from a colder climate. They come from the Atlas Mountains up in Morocco, so that's why they're called that. So we had that experience, and we've got Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Let me tell you something, what's going on in Africa, Egypt and Ethiopia as well. Africa has been under a very, very heavy attack. Islamic invasion and the slaughter of Christians. Also slavery, actual slavery. I mean, you got all these people screaming and shouting at America about slavery that America abolished. Americans shed their blood to abolish slavery. White Americans too, not just black people, white Americans. The majority of slave owners were people that were in a certain professions and of a certain pay grade. The majority of people didn't even have slaves, a lot of them. And so you see this accusation. It doesn't make slavery okay. It was obviously wrong, but this country abolished it. Now, what happened with segregation and the racism after that was very demonic, and that was bad, but it was dealt with. But you're seeing slavery in Mauritania, which is up in West Africa, and it's Muslims who are enslaving people, and they have a slave trade now. There's at least 900,000 enslaved people in Mauritania who belong as property to other people. And if they have a baby, that baby belongs to the slave owner. That's happening right now. Libya, right now. So if you want to talk about slavery, and it's so typical of the devil to point that finger at America, at the West, where God is moving the most. In Africa, and it's coming through Islam. Sorry, just the truth. Slave owners owning other human beings. Property of. Happening today. You want to fight that? It's happening today. You can stop it. So anybody comes at you, starts telling, you want to talk about things that America did 100 years ago. You know what you say to them? There are slaves in Mauritania today. Human beings owned by other human beings. We can stop that right now. But they don't want to admit that it's Islam, you see. Well, we don't want to be Islamophobic. Guess what? I'm not scared. I'm not scared of Islam. I'm recognizing this is a bunch of nonsense. And you people better pull yourself together because you're acting like lunatics, like animals, possessed, throwing your own children at the IDF. I just saw a video the other day. It might be in my X page here. Let me finish this post. Serbia and Kosovo, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan. This is what the accomplishment for Trump so far is. He's working on Russia and Ukraine. He's working on Israel-Hamas situation, which is ultimately Iran, because Iran funds Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, all the troublemakers in Islam. The jihadis are chopping people's heads off and doing all this crazy stuff. All come from that same source, and it is the 12er. They have an eschatology in Islam. They're called the 12ers, and they are that. This is where that's coming from. I mean, it exists. There's problems all over Islam, but that's where that's coming from, and the 12er Muslims who ascribe to that eschatology are the ones who control Iran, and they fund the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah. So we don't have time to go into the whole eschatology now, but that's ultimately what's going on. If we can recognize where the source of the problem is, we can deal with it. Because it's not the surface thing that the left has made it about. Oh, you're just racist. Oh, you're toxic masculinity and the evils of Christianity. It's so typical of the devil. Just accuse, throw your stones. And then you're throwing stones and accusing all the time, and then it makes you feel better. But it's all a lie from the pit of hell. There's more Tusi. I recommend Tusi TV, Tousi TV. Great news source. World War II, the Allies didn't say, let's stop and leave 25% of the Nazi army intact. Certainly not. Good point, Netanyahu. My dad prophesied about Netanyahu. Here we go. Netherlands, you just saw a prophecy. My dad in 2010, I just played this for you guys, prophesying about the Fourth Reich and how it would be overcome. Look, the Netherlands has decided not to recognize a Palestinian state. Bravo, Netherlands. You're doing the right thing. Because they've also had a problem with the Muslim immigrants there in the Netherlands, and my husband was a witness to that. So, okay, you guys, I think that we've about run out of time. Yes. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yes, we have. Oh, this is important. Let me play this for you before we go. What Marco Rubio is saying.
Well, if you notice, the talks with Hamas.
Love Marco Rubio. My dad really liked Marco Rubio all the way back 2015 and before, when Marco Rubio was coming around. My dad liked him. He didn't prophesy anything about him, but he liked him. And he did prophesy about a small Latino man being president. It was after the Trump years. I don't know if directly after or when, but he said, you're young now. And he would be the first Latino president, the first president of Latino heritage. I would love it to be Marco Rubio because I really like him. But I'm not sure, because he said this man is not verbose, does not have verbosity. Doesn't speak well. They'll even say this man is not speaking enough. So we'll be looking for that when Trump's term starts coming to a close. But listen here to Marco Rubio. This is good.
Fell apart on the day Macron made the unilateral decision. Well,
How
if you notice,
foolish
the talks with
Macron and Starmer were in making that statement. Just complete ignorance, or maybe it's not ignorance. Maybe it's compliance. But whatever those fools are doing has just made it impossible now. Pushing all the wrong buttons here. Why is that happening here? This is what I want to do. There we go. That. Come on.
Well, if you notice, that the talks with Hamas fell apart on the day Macron made the unilateral decision that he's going to recognize a Palestinian state. And then you have other people come forward, other countries say, well, if there's not a ceasefire by September, we're going to recognize a Palestinian state. Well, if I'm Hamas, I basically conclude, let's not do a ceasefire, because we can be rewarded and we can claim it as a victory. So those messages, while largely symbolic in their minds, actually have made it harder to get peace and harder to achieve a deal with Hamas. They feel emboldened. Well,
Hamas feels emboldened because France and England said, oh, we'll recognize the Palestinian state. Then why would they make any deal? They're just going to hold out, keep those hostages, keep doing what they're doing, and they're going to get recognized as a state. You do realize they're already a state, basically. Israel gave them that land, evacuated all the Jews, even took their dead that were buried in the region, took them out of the ground and reburied them, and gave the land to the Palestinians. And what did they do? They could have built a country. They were given so much money. In Trump's first term, I remember Jared Kushner going over there and offering them billions of dollars to help them build it. They didn't want it. They want to kill Jews. That's all they care about. That should tell you everything you need to know. Oh, there we go. We'll end with this. See? That is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Notice my husband put the crown on him. He's gonna put gold into it. We're very excited about this. I am extraordinarily excited about this because I had the vision of the lion. And speaking of Amanda Grace, when I had that vision of the lion when it first happened, because it's happened a few times now, but when it first happened, I see this lion walking towards me and I'm not scared. I want to weep. I'm seeking out lions because what I was really seeing was Jesus. And I saw it. One of the very distinct things I saw was that lion moving toward Amanda Grace. And I kept saying, surely it's not God's going to send you a real lion to the sanctuary. I mean, how are you going to manage that? We had a good laugh about it. She was like, I don't know. But because, she has a lot of animals in her sanctuary, but I don't think she's equipped for a lion. But I saw a lion moving towards her. You never know. Be great. But my husband does do gold leafing on these. And I think he said he was just going to do the crown gold on this one, maybe a little bit through the mane. We'll see. He hasn't gold leafed any of them yet. We're still waiting for the prints, the first set of prints to arrive. We only have the original right now. So again, though, this is not in any way associated with the House of Destiny or the ministry. So that if you are interested in these, you're going to have to email my husband. You can follow him on X as well. Because again, this was not anything planned. He is just an artist. He did a painting for my sister for her house because she's getting married. And when he posted it, it went viral and people wanted prints of it. So he was like, well, I can send you some prints, but it costs me. There's all these people wanting it. So anyway, do not email the House of Destiny, though, because they're not going to know what's going on. You have to email him. It's a very exclusive little thing. If Chris asks for a lion, Amanda might get one. That is true. Chris, he's the boss. Okay, and if anyone doesn't know, I'm talking about her husband, Chris. Amanda and Chris, they're just some of my very best friends. I just love them. So, okay, everybody. And look at this. Here we go. We're not going to occupy Gaza. We are going to free Gaza from Hamas. This is Benjamin Netanyahu from his page. Gaza will be demilitarized and a peaceful civilian administration will be established, one that is not the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, and not any other terrorist organization. And people need to understand this. Same goes for Iran. He was saying the same thing, the Iranian people, encouraging them to get new leadership. But they can't just sit back and let a country that is got this eschatology that are nuts get nuclear weapons, because they're not just going to. If they could nuke Israel, and you think everything's going to be finished then, if everyone's happy? No, because their goal is to make everyone Muslim in the whole world and every drop of Jewish blood to be gone, so that the great Imam will return, the 13th, and Jesus is his lieutenant. This is what they believe. They're nuts. They're possessed with demons. They will sacrifice their own children to this because they are lied to. And it's just a terrible thing. And another thing is I'm seeing in Mozambique, ISIS soldiers behead Christians and burn a church and homes. So the reason Mozambique means something to me is because it's right above. If you look at a map of South Africa, the very tip of Africa, on the side, you'll see Durban. That's where I was born. Right above that, not very far in the map, is Mozambique. And so this is very close to, we've got our family, I've got a whole family full of Christians there, pastors and ministers and church leaders. They're not just Christians, they're actually in ministry, and they're in South Africa. And we see what's happening with the anti-Semitism in South Africa. Christy went there recently because she had to go back because she's also from there, and noticed all of a sudden there's this heavy anti-Semitism, and she's got tattoos of like a Jewish star and all this stuff. Thank you, Amber King, for your super chat on YouTube. She's got, visibly supportive of Israel tattoos all over her. and she was having to cover them up at one point. So not good. And of course, if you missed analysis this past, or Israel update this past week, you want to go to the House of Destiny, download the app, or go to our YouTube or Rumble page, follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram. We're all over the place. Make sure you keep up with what we're putting out there. They're usually not very long. The shows with me are longer, and I don't want to call it a show. It's not a show. I don't know what to call it. A broadcast. That's why we call it a broadcast, because we're not putting on a show. It's not a television show. It's not entertainment. Also, don't miss our prayer meeting this Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, which is 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 Eastern. And if you're somewhere else in the world, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself, because I can't do that math. But we are meeting every single Tuesday night, and we're praying for each other, and we're praying for our country, and we're praying for the nations of the earth, or whatever country you're from. And it has been a beautiful, beautiful time. We just get together and we pray for each other. We talk to each other. And I just love it. And so we're having a prayer meeting, and we're utilizing the technology for it. And so you are invited to join us for our prayer meeting every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central, the Gathering of the Dangerous. It is a lovely time. Thank you, Bless USA, for your super chat. That is YouTube. Yes. And then, of course, Prophetic Rewind will be up tomorrow. All of our partners, if you are a Vault partner, we are so grateful for you. We thank God for you every day. Because of your support, we were able to digitize all this footage of my dad that we couldn't before. And so that is what we're releasing in date order on Prophetic Rewind at the House of Destiny Network. And if you want to support this ministry and what we're doing, for $7 or more a month, you can join our Vault partnership, Prophecy Vault partnership. And it is just full. The School of the Prophets is in there, and its teachings on the soul are in there. We have an upgraded prophecy database in which the tools that you need are right there. So we've kept the regular database that we've always had on the website for everybody, so you can always look. But if you're a Vault partner, we'll have a video link there for you to watch the prophecy, read the prophecy, click a link to watch the original broadcast. It is incredible. And we worked very hard to make it worth it for you. And we do need the support. And so we thank you so much. Also, if you're giving an offering today, thank you so much to everybody who's given super chats today. I just keep seeing them come in. And I thank you so much for sowing your seed in this soil. And I'll just say that to everybody. If you are thinking, because the world is changing so much, it's not just church anymore. There's this different thing that's happening with media. And it's so important that wherever you're being fed, that's where you sow. And you will reap the reward of that. And what is here at the foundation of this ministry is the prophet's reward. And that is there. That is the fruit. So whenever you're navigating through the different things you see on social media, it's like, what do I want to watch? What has fed you? What has nourished you? What is truth? Where is the good fruit? Sow your seed there. And so for those of you who choose to sow some of that seed here at the House of Destiny Network and the ministry of Kim Clement and into the prophetic, we are so grateful to you. We thank you so much for recognizing that and supporting us, because we're a team. We're in this together. And it has just been an incredible experience. It's been difficult at times, especially for our family. We've lost my dad, and it's almost 10 years. It's 9 years since he had the stroke next month. And that has gone so fast. But the world has changed so much, and our world changed so much when we lost him. And so for those of you who have been supporters since all the way back then when my dad was still alive, and you were watching him, and you continue to support even though he's gone, you are witness to the fulfillment of what was prophesied from him. And he was so anointed and so good that he didn't even need to be alive. He prophesied and prophesied and prophesied for 40 years, and then God took him. And now we sit here with these prophecies, and without them, we would have been lost. I wouldn't have known what to think about a lot of things, because I didn't pay attention to those things when my dad was alive. I had it easy. And then God gave me He gave me an inheritance, and that inheritance was this job of making sure all of you heard these prophecies and understand what is actually really going on a spiritual level, not just the physical stuff. We understand that, understand the propaganda, understand the demons that we are to slay. And we are warriors of the new millennium. And I was with my dad when he broke his wrist and he had to go to the hospital. I, at 13 years old, was a witness to what happened to him. And from that came the vision that God gave him of the warriors of the new millennium. And that was in 1993. And long before anybody was filming him prophesying. And then 3 years later, I was there at the Gathering of the Dangerous in Dearborn, Michigan, when he saw 9/11 and prophesied the planes flying over Long Island and the beast of the east. And today we stand facing these giants, but the Spirit of David is in us. And we have 5 smooth stones in our hands. And we may be small and we may feel small, but God is with us. And great things are yet to happen. And so be encouraged today. No matter what you face through this week, I pray that God is with you, that he protects you, that he reveals to you the truth. Real life, real faith. You can see that on what day? What? Thursday. Is it every other Thursday? Florida Beach Mom. Where's Rita? Oh, Rita, $80. Bless you, Rita. Thank you so much. That helps us so much. It really does. And then every other Thursday, I'm seeing it up there on the screen, Perspectives of the Prophetic. That's Charlie Jordan. He played the bass with my dad, but he was much more than just a bass player. He was such a prophetic person and was my dad's just right-hand man for more than 20 years. I've known him since I was a little girl, and God uses him greatly. And he has an understanding that's different of these prophecies because he was with my dad with every single time he prophesied. You'll see Charlie Jordan there behind him. And so he can give you a prophetic perspective that is unique. And so I encourage you to watch that. It's every other Thursday at the House of Destiny Network. We have online church on Saturdays with Fa. We love Pastor Fa. He's praying with us on Tuesdays. My dad chose Fa because his anointing was to pastor. You know, you have to be anointed to do that. You know, in the world today, everybody, you know, you're a Christian and you want to do something for God and you're so on fire for Jesus. And I want to pastor. Just the automatic thing everybody goes, but not everybody's anointed to do that. And it doesn't always work out and then people get discouraged. And it's because not everybody's anointed to be a pastor. You have to have a special anointing to be able to handle that. You have to have the right setup. You know, I love how, our pastor, the church we go to is Global Vision with Pastor Greg Locke and his wife. And there's something very important about having that family unit there that is a covering over families. So it's so important that you go to church. You know, we have a lot of online stuff happening. If you can get to a church and it's a good church, you know, they're teaching the right stuff and they understand. That's very important too, because you need to have that one-on-one personal time. And that's why we do this show later, so that everybody can go to church in the morning and then we're there for you afterwards. And love how your dad introduced each musician that came to be at the Israel Forever. Yes, Florida Beach Mom, that's right. You've been watching a long time, Florida Beach Mom. That's just beautiful. Yes, Dad did some incredible stuff in Israel. Incredible. And you know what? It's on Prophetic Rewind. And then also, you see next to me here on the screen, Daily Light. So if you're giving an offering today, we want to give this to you. But if you want it, you have to go to our website, houseofdestiny.org or kimclement.com, or you can scan that QR code. Now, a lot of people don't like the QR codes. You don't trust them. I understand. Just go to the website. But make sure you click the banner when you give your offering, and then we'll know to send you one of these. And it is so anointed and beautiful. My dad wrote every word of this. It's a 31-day devotional. The thing about my dad is he loved devotionals. Every time it was Christmas or his birthday or Father's Day, we were giving him journals, Bibles, and devotionals because that's what he loved. And so he had just, and I inherited all those journals and all those things. Well, all of us kids did, but I am the keeper of them. I made a place in my home for them, and I have a special trunk that I ordered. Forget where from. It was not Ukraine. It was somewhere in Russia. But it was found in a house. It was a 200-year-old chest. And so I got it, and then A friend of my dad's that works in construction and can do carpentry and stuff, fixed it for me. And I have all his things in there. And the thing he loved the most was a devotional, especially Spurgeon. And then for $25 or more, this is our new release. Well, it's sort of new now. It's a little bit older now. Thank you so much, Lon Vanderpool, for your super chat. Thank you. Euro. How exciting. Oh, that's exciting. I love Europe. I'm so sad about what's happening because we love it. I mean, we traveled through Europe a lot when we were growing up because we lived in South Africa and you could never just get a direct flight to America. It's too far. So you have to connect somewhere. Nowadays, people connect a lot in Dubai, but back then there was no Dubai available to us. And so we would connect through Italy because my dad had a friend who went to our church in South Africa. Tarantino. Enrico, thank you. Enrico Tarantino. That's right, it rhymed. Enrico Tarantino. And he worked for Alitalia Airlines. And so he could get my dad deals and stuff to travel. And so we always went through Italy. And so we spent a lot of time in Italy. And I just want to see God moving through Europe and moving through the West. And we are actually. He's already moving. And so we need to be ready. That is my message to you today. We've gone over 2 hours. I have to stop. I need to go eat. And I'm sure some of you are ready for this to be finished too, although you've stuck around. I don't see that number dropping. You guys stayed. So that's beautiful. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always such a blessing to have this time with you. And again, don't miss anything going on at the House of Destiny Network. And I will see you here next week.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call. And then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that and come back to us when you're comfortable.